An invisible eviction notice was just served inside the gates of Kensington Palace, and the target isn't who you think. Two princesses who spent their entire lives believing their bloodline made them untouchable have just been given a quiet, brutal ultimatum. Leave the royal properties now or face the public fallout. The future king has officially set a calculated trap, and the reason he's forcing them out has very little to do with unpaid rent. There was no public announcement, no dramatic press release, just a quiet, ruthless ultimatum that completely blindsided the sisters, signaling the start of a cold new era where nobody is safe. While the public looks at the surface, the real reason behind this sudden exile is hidden deep within a high-stakes financial defiance that changes everything we know about the monarchy. Make sure you watch this video until the very end, because the final piece of this puzzle reveals a twist that even the palace couldn't keep hidden. If you want to stay ahead of the secrets behind the palace walls, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. The illusion of safety inside the palace walls has officially shattered. Reports suggest that a quiet but aggressive crackdown is underway, targeting the prestigious Crown Estate properties occupied by the family's non-working members. For years, a quiet arrangement allowed certain individuals to enjoy massive, historic mansions for next to nothing. But now, Parliament is stepping in to pull back the curtain on these near-zero rental agreements, and the timing could not be worse for Beatrice and Eugenie. Insiders say the warning signs are too loud to ignore. A former government minister went public, stating bluntly that the sisters would be wise to pack up and leave their luxury apartments before people start asking too many questions. Public patience has completely run out, and the outrage is boiling over. The era of comfortable, subsidized royal living is being dismantled at the highest level. But this wasn't just a sudden change in public mood, it was a carefully laid trap. While the sisters were allegedly left scrambling, William was already 3 steps ahead. Sources indicate he quietly announced he would pay full market rent for his family's new home, setting a standard that left the rest of the family utterly exposed. It was a calculated move that forced everyone else into a corner. By doing this, he essentially drew a line in the sand, separating those who contribute from those who simply benefit. The pressure on the sisters was already immense, but they had no idea the trap was about to spring shut. Because what the public is just starting to realize is that this property dispute wasn't just about real estate or money. It was the opening move in a much larger, darker strategy to erase their presence from the monarchy entirely. And just as the sisters realized they were standing on shifting ground, a highly confidential paper trail from across the Atlantic was unsealed, threatening to destroy whatever credibility they had left. Some secrets are too massive to stay buried, no matter how much power you hold. Just as the property crisis began to boil over, a heavily protected paper trail from across the Atlantic was cracked wide open. Legal files unsealed in the United States suddenly dragged Beatrice and Eugenie's names directly into the public eye, mentioning them hundreds of times. Neither sister faced any accusations of wrongdoing, but what these documents exposed about their inner circle sent shockwaves straight through the palace gates. The timeline revealed in those records is what truly left investigators stunned. According to sources, the files point back to a summer lunch in Palm Beach, happening just days after a controversial billionaire walked out of a secure facility. The sisters, merely 19 and 20 at the time, were reportedly brought directly into this orbit by their own mother, Sarah Ferguson. For years, the public believed the family's ties to this individual were distant, but the unsealed records painted a much tighter, highly uncomfortable picture. And then, the financial paper trail emerged. Uncovered email exchanges allegedly showed records of the billionaire bankrolling private travel for the family, with one single invoice totaling over $14,000. Even more troubling was a direct message asking if the daughters could provide a private behind-the-scenes tour of Buckingham Palace for one of his associates. The sheer proximity to such a compromised figure created a reputational nightmare that no amount of public relations could fix. The sisters were suddenly trapped in a narrative they couldn't control. Experienced commentators began asking a devastating question: how deeply involved were they, and could they have sounded the alarm sooner? The institution tried its best to shield the daughters from the fallout, attempting to separate the children from the actions of the parents. But the damage was already done, and the palace's tolerance was rapidly running out. They had no idea that a massive escalation was just around the corner, one that would force the hand of the law and bring everything crashing down on a single fateful birthday. Nothing prepares a family for a knock on the door from law enforcement, especially when that door belongs to a royal residence. Just as the palace tried to quiet the brewing storm, the ultimate crisis struck on what should have been a day of celebration. Rumors indicate that a high-stakes investigation culminated in a dramatic legal move, bringing the family's internal panic to an absolute boiling point. The safety net that had protected the family line for decades was instantly cut. The timing of the event sent shockwaves through the entire establishment. It is claimed that the legal pressure shifted focus directly onto their father, Andrew, on his 66th birthday. Allegations surfaced involving the highly sensitive sharing of confidential government data from his time as a trade envoy. Though he was released shortly after, the public relations damage was completely irreversible. The palace could no longer pretend this was a minor family matter that would simply fade away. Behind closed doors, a brutal calculation was being made. Up until this moment, the monarchy had appeared to shield Beatrice and Eugenie, trying to preserve their public standing despite the heavy shadow over their parents. Only months earlier, the institution had quietly elevated Beatrice's public profile with a fresh charitable role, sending a clear signal that the daughters would not be punished for the father's actions. But the birthday crisis changed everything overnight. The strategy to protect them was completely abandoned. Insiders say the king realized that the crown's credibility could no longer absorb the constant negative headlines. The protective wall around the sisters vanished in an instant, replaced by a cold, institutional distance. They were about to find out just how harsh their new reality would be. Because the very next move from the palace wasn't a private warning. It was a brutal, public stripping of their status at the grandest event of the summer. In the world of the monarchy, the most devastating punishments are never delivered out loud. They are signaled through an empty seat. The true extent of the isolation hitting Beatrice and Eugenie became undeniable when the guest list for the season's most prestigious event was finalized. Reports suggest that the sisters were delivered a stunning blow when they were completely dropped from the high-profile carriage procession at Royal Ascot. In a family where visibility equals power, this was the ultimate public erasure. The sisters were allegedly left completely blindsided by the decision. To the outside world, it looks like a simple change in logistics. But insiders know that an invitation to ride in that specific carriage and to dine at Windsor Castle the night before is the ultimate stamp of royal belonging. Stripping it away is a loud, unambiguous message to the public that you are no longer part of the inner circle. The fast-moving plan to phase the sisters out of public life was now unfolding in real time, and the restrictions did not stop at the racecourse gates. Sources indicate that this was part of a sweeping strategy to keep the princesses away from all major public-facing events for the foreseeable future. Key traditional gatherings passed by with no sign of the sisters as alternative arrangements were quietly put into place. They were experiencing a total collapse of their status, watching their roles vanish almost overnight as a powerful new force took control of the palace's future. A cold, unyielding era had officially arrived. The sisters were beginning to realize that the rules of the monarchy had fundamentally changed, shifting directly toward a highly disciplined model controlled by William. Rumors indicate his vision for the family is smaller, leaner, and entirely unsentimental, leaving absolutely no room for the old way of doing things. But just as the sisters faced total banishment, William offered them one high-stakes chance to clear their names, a single demand that would lead to their biggest miscalculation yet. When you defy the future king, there is no turning back. Just as Beatrice and Eugenie felt the ground slipping beneath them, a direct and unprecedented ultimatum arrived straight from Kensington Palace. Reports suggest that William issued a strict mandate demanding that the sisters submit to a complete independent audit of their private business activities. It was a high-stakes loyalty test designed to uncover any hidden financial ties before they could trigger another public scandal. The ultimatum placed the sisters in an impossible position. Insiders say the request was handled with absolute secrecy, but the intent was razor-sharp. William and Catherine were determined to scrub the family line clean of any lingering liabilities. By ordering a forensic look into their books, the future king was essentially demanding absolute transparency. He wanted total proof that no uncomfortable connections remained hidden in their corporate ventures or consulting firms. But instead of compliance, the palace met a wall of resistance. Rumors indicate that the sisters flatly refused to cooperate with the demand, viewing the audit as an offensive overreach into their private careers. It was a staggering gamble. In the unyielding hierarchy of the monarchy, ignoring a direct command from the heir to the throne is a catastrophic mistake. To Kensington Palace, this defiance didn't look like independence. It looked like they had something dangerous to hide. The consequences of that choice are unfolding right now. By closing their doors to the future king, the sisters effectively sealed their own fate, losing whatever institutional backing they had left. The protective barrier was entirely dismantled. They thought they had drawn a line to protect their privacy, but they actually walked straight into a trap. And just as their relationship with William fractured beyond repair, a fresh wave of public scrutiny emerged, threatening to take away the last remaining things they have left: their royal titles. The battle for the survival of the family line has officially reached the point of no return. While Beatrice and Eugenie fought to protect their privacy, an entirely new threat emerged from deep within the palace corridors. Rumors indicate that a powerful anti-York faction, allegedly led by Camilla, has consolidated power at the highest level. Their ultimate goal is no longer just public isolation. They are actively pushing to strip the sisters of their remaining titles and completely remove them from the line of succession. This internal campaign has triggered an absolute civil war behind closed doors. Sources suggest that the timing of this push is particularly brutal. Eugenie is currently preparing for the arrival of her third child, a baby who would normally enter the world with a secure place in the historic lineage. But instead of celebration, the family is facing total erasure. The faction driving this movement believes the institution's credibility cannot survive any more mixed signals, and they want the ties cut permanently. The sisters are watching their birthright being dismantled piece by piece. It is claimed that every single appearance, gesture, and title is now being weighed on a corporate scale. For generations, bloodline was everything. But under the current trajectory, the traditional rules no longer apply. The institutional machinery is moving with terrifying speed, leaving the sisters completely exposed as public scrutiny intensifies around their every move. The pressure is mounting and time has completely run out. They are facing a future where they could be completely stripped of their identities, cast out as ordinary citizens with nothing but a compromised name. The decisions being made right now will alter the shape of the monarchy forever. And as the dust begins to settle on this historic purge, all eyes are turning to the future king, whose final judgment is about to change the face of the crown forever. The final judgment has been passed, and the old way of royal life is officially dead. While Charles remains the only one inside the inner circle who still holds any personal sentiment for the sisters, the reality is that the monarchy is no longer being run on emotion. It is being completely reshaped around William's cold-eyed corporate vision for the crown. The rule going forward is brutal but incredibly simple. If you don't work for the crown, you don't keep the status. Beatrice and Eugenie tried to navigate two different worlds, balancing private business careers with the unmatched prestige of their birthright. But in a modern world demanding absolute transparency and credibility, that compromise has completely collapsed. By refusing to comply with the future king's demands, the sisters didn't just protect their privacy, they effectively signed their own papers of exile. The carriages have moved on, the palace doors are closing, and the family line is being permanently trimmed down to ensure the survival of the throne itself. The real question left to answer is whether this ruthless purging will actually save the institution, or if William's lean machine will eventually leave the future king standing completely alone. What do you think about the palace's decision to completely phase out the sisters? Drop your thoughts in the comments section down below. I read every single one of them. And if you enjoyed diving deep behind the palace gates with us today, do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. We have some incredible stories coming up that you absolutely do not want to miss. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.